When you're facilitating a workshop, there are a lot of things that could go wrong. But what if I told you I've got 3 things that will help basically guarantee that your workshop will be a success? What? I know, it's crazy. I'm gonna share those with you in this video. Plus, the 3rd thing that I'm gonna share with you in this video is my absolute favorite workshop strategy of all time. It's like one of the best things I ever learned. So stay tuned for that, but also listen to the other stuff because the other stuff is also important. But if you wanna just skip to number 3, then just do it. Like, I can't stop you. I'm in this little box. What can I do? All right, let's do it. Welcome to my channel, all about workshops, facilitation, dealing with big groups of people, trying to get them from A to B. If any of that interests you, then maybe you should consider subscribing to my cute, adorable little channel. And if you like this video, you find it helpful, interesting, helped you learn something new, I'd love if you gave it a little like. Because that would just be helpful and nice and it would make me feel good. And if you have any specific questions about facilitation or workshops or planning, let me know in the comments and I'll make a video for you, for crying out loud. That would be nice, wouldn't it? I'll even maybe dedicate it to you. I'll say your name, like I'm writing a song. So I'm gonna share with you 3 things that you might not consider that will help you make sure that your workshop is a surefire success. So, thing number 1, the setup. Now I know this sounds obvious, so I'm gonna get very specific about what you need to do in order to set yourself up for a successful workshop. Now, there are actually quite a few things that you need to do in the onboarding of your workshop, but one of the most critical things that people often forget about is getting and setting expectations. And those 2 components of get and set are critical. So not only are you going to tell everyone what you're going to do in this workshop, what the plan is, and what you hope to achieve together, but you're also gonna ask everyone in the room what they want to achieve, what they're hoping that we get out of our session together, right? Because what's gonna happen is even if you share the agenda and you say, here's our goal, here's what we're gonna do, people will all have in their minds a little idea of something that they think that probably we're also gonna do this thing. I'm pretty sure I heard that somewhere, right? So what you wanna do is make sure you get all of those little pieces of information from your participants, and then you can clarify with them whether or not they're right or whether they're wrong. So if you're gonna ask people, what are you hoping that we get out of today? What is your, big goal? What are you hoping that we achieve together? And then everyone's gonna answer, and maybe someone's gonna come up and they're gonna say, well, what I'm hoping that we do is we completely revamp the business in 3 hours, and all of a sudden we make billions of dollars after we leave this room. And you're gonna say, I like your enthusiasm, but I don't know if we're gonna achieve all of that today. Today we're really focused on this specific challenge, and I hear what you're saying about that, and I think that's also important, but today we're gonna do this. So what we should do is talk about that part at a later date, right? Something along those lines. So you have heard them out, you've said, whoa, actually we're not gonna do all of that. And now they're like, oh, okay, cool. Now they're not gonna be disappointed down the line, they're not gonna be causing trouble, all of that fun stuff. Speaking of causing trouble, I don't know if you've seen my video about dealing with difficult people. You can watch it, I think I have something on my sweater. So if you haven't seen that video, definitely take a look at it. But this getting and setting expectations is what's gonna help you avoid having to deal with those types of situations where people are being disruptive in your workshop. The other thing about getting and setting expectations is everybody's going to feel a lot more confident about you and what you're able to deliver in your workshop because you've been upfront and honest, and you've even said no to a couple of things. The power of that is really, really great. Okay, thing number 2 that you can do in order to guarantee a success in your workshops is bring the right people in the room. And I don't even mean like the right people who can solve the challenge. Obviously, yes, that's number 1. But what you want to do is strategically place a couple or 3 people in the room who are going to naturally give you a bit of positive energy. They're going to keep people motivated. They're going to be like smiling, the smilers and the nodders. Those are the people that you want in your workshop. And it's not just for the group. Obviously, it's helpful to have them peppered within the team to kind of keep people engaged and on track, but it actually helps you as well, because now the energy and keeping everybody hyped is not left only up to you, right? And that's really, really nice. It's nice to have some helpers in the room. Plus, it's so great when you're like facilitating and you look out and you have a couple people looking back at you and they're smiling and they're nodding and you're like, okay, cool, I'm good, right? Because what you want to do is keep your confidence up in the workshop as well. So strategically, a few invites that will guarantee some positive energy in the mix. Just think about it. It's helpful, I'm telling you. Very, very helpful. And the last thing that I'm going to share with you, which is actually my favorite workshop like trick or tip or strategy of all time, is something called peak moments. So what is a peak moment, you might be wondering? Well, I'm glad that you asked. Peak moments is a concept that comes directly from one of my favorite books of all time, The Power of Moments by Chip and Dan Heath. The peak moment concept comes from this book, and basically a peak moment is something that happens in an experience that is out of the ordinary, right? So it makes people feel happy, surprised, excited, something out of the ordinary that kind of elevates their emotional state. And what peak moments do, which is where the power really is they actually help people remember an experience as better than it actually was. It's kind of wild and it's a little bit manipulative, but I love it. So when should peak moments happen and what could be a peak moment, right? First of all, I am a big believer in having a few peak moments happening throughout your workshop. Usually one to kick you off, right at the start, so people are like, oh, this is cool and fun and I'm excited to be here. And then something around the middle of your workshop, right? So something that's gonna then bring them back up, bring the energy up. And then at the very end of your workshop, so something that is going to send them off with a really good positive feeling, okay? So let's think about what those peak moments could be. Super simple. At the beginning of your workshop, people could come in and there is, candy or like fun, silly things on the table. So that tells them, first of all, it's surprising because usually when they go into a meeting or a workshop, it's all just kind of like markers and post-it notes. So something exciting, something different that's on the table tells them, ooh, this workshop is going to be a little bit different, and that's cool. Okay, halfway through the workshop, maybe you just literally simply do an energizer, maybe a silly energizer, get people out of their chairs. I would highly recommend that you Google, this is the universal sign for Google, you Google the rock, paper, scissors tournament. This icebreaker is hilarious. It's an icebreaker, but it's also more of an energizer actually. So that one is super fun. It's fast, it's easy, and people love it. So that you could do right at the middle of your workshop. And then at the very end of your workshop, maybe you give everybody a little thank you card. Like, thanks so much for coming. I really appreciate it, right? That is a huge peak moment. It's unexpected. It's definitely out of the ordinary. And doing those things, strategically placing those things, means that even if you come to your workshop and you're feeling a bit tired or you just don't really feel like being there, people will still remember this workshop as being really great, right? And I know it sounds silly, but it actually does work. Don't underestimate the power of the peak moment, okay? Great. Okay, so to summarize, the 3 things that are going to guarantee that your workshop is a success. Number 1, the setup. Getting and setting expectations with your team is critical. 2, the people. Inviting the right people in the room, having a few people strategically placed who are going to bring you positive energy, who are going to be up for it, they're going to be engaged and motivated. It is critical. And then the 3rd thing are, of course, the peak moments. Honestly, that is such a huge factor in how people feel about my workshops. I bring in little stickers, I bring them little kind of giveaway gifts. I do some fun things that make people feel like this is a different thing than all the things they've done before. And my workshops, therefore, are a lot more memorable and people think, oh wow, that was really awesome, even if it sucked. Just kidding. My workshops never suck. They're always awesome. So just keep those 3 things in mind when you're planning your workshops, and don't forget to let me know if when you're planning you're like, God, I'd really love to learn more about blah, right? Whatever that is, the blah, put it in the comments down below and maybe I'll make a video for you. And did I already say I'd dedicate it to you? Well, I'll dedicate it to you for crying out loud. That'd be fun. That would be fun, right? And also, if you haven't subscribed yet to my channel, then feel free to do that as well. I hope you have a fabulous, fabulous, fabulous day, and I will see you somewhere, sometime in the future. Bye, everybody. Jazzy. Bye. Bye. Maybe there's music on, then I could be like grooving to the music. Whoa, 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 whoa.